think this might shock some Aussies. It might shock some Brits because Brits are always told before they come out to Australia. Welcome back to the channel, and today we have got something that is a little bit different to the usual content on the channel. It's something that I've been teasing for a good while.
Yeah.
I actually started preparation for this video before the big 2-week trip. The idea of today's video, if you've seen the title and you've seen the thumbnail, is for us to price compare an average weekly shop or just a bit of shopping from ALDI UK to ALDI Australia. And I've gone through to try and price compare similar products. Now, what I've had to do to get the closest price representation is do similar products in similar numbers. So if something comes in 200 grams in Australia and comes in 300 grams in the UK, an honest reflection of what you're getting for value per gram, if that makes sense. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense. I've tried my best on research, so there might be a couple of errors, editing, whatever it may be, but we've tried to do our best with this. So I hope you guys enjoy it. If you do, be sure to like. So let us know in the comment section below which one you think is going to be cheaper. This really does intrigue me. What do you reckon?
I'm pretty excited to see these because you've done all the research for this one and I've not known any of these. So I'm pretty excited. I feel like Australia tends to be more expensive for shopping. So I'm going to say I think UK will be cheaper overall.
Okay then.
But who knows?
Okay, so like Cody did mention, fully fresh. This is kind of the game that we're playing, but you can play along as for the video. I'm really excited to get into this because doing this research, I had no idea with a couple of these things, and certain products might surprise you in pricing. So let's get into the first product. So the first product on the list is a single banana. So a single banana in ALDI UK versus ALDI Australia. What do you reckon?
I reckon it's going to be, what, in the UK I'd say it's probably around 30 pence.
30 pence per banana, okay.
I'm going to say that.
Yeah.
And then I reckon ALDI, well, in Australia they grow their own bananas, don't they? So I'm guessing it's cheaper.
Possibly,
so I'm going to say it's going to work out at maybe 18 cents for an Aussie banana.
So you think 18 cents and 30 pence as a price comparison,
I reckon.
Okay, well, this might surprise you, but the weird thing with research for this is that I think Australia did their banana amount in grammage rather than per banana. Whereas on the UK, they said per banana. And there's a lot of variables, as there's going to be through a few of these products. So before people say, oh, what type of banana? There's obviously going to be these variables. These are impossible to control. And I did as much as I could research-wise. So
you got it as close as you possibly could?
I got it as close as I could. So from the research that I saw and looked into, it's 16 pence or 35 pence in Australia. So it's actually more expensive for Aussies to buy bananas in ALDI. Now, they might be bigger bananas than what you get in the UK. They might be better quality bananas.
And also, this is ALDI. This isn't like maybe a local grocer or... Okay.
But I do want to just preference, once again, this is a little bit of fun. I don't want people getting too worked up about anything. Just enjoy, play along with the game and have a bit of fun. Now, if you're looking at the prices, as you can see, I've done them in British sterling and then I've done them in the Australian dollar. So if you're looking for the dollars, just look at the prices in the bottom right of each screen. And if you're looking for the British, look on the bottom left. So as you can see, bananas actually more expensive in Australian ALDI. Now, you're saving yourself 19 pence in the UK buying bananas, or you're actually worse off 39 cents in Australia. So a bit of an interesting one.
That is interesting.
When I was doing the research, I thought the same as you, though.
Yeah, they grow bananas. They're everywhere, especially when you go up north. They're everywhere. You can get them at the side of the road in the carts. Yeah,
it's interesting, isn't it? I thought it was cool. So yeah, so bananas actually better off in the UK, ALDI. Now, we've got 12 large free-range eggs. These are the exact same product. I managed to get the exact same, sold the same. What do you reckon? Eggs are really expensive.
They're like gold, aren't they?
Really expensive.
In Australia at the moment. They're really expensive. So I'm guessing the UK is going to be cheaper for eggs, surely.
UK cheaper?
UK cheaper.
Good shout. So as we can see from the pricing, UK is only 6 pence cheaper. Or, as we can have a little flick through here, you're 6 pence better off. Or in the Australian dollar, you're actually 13 cents off. So again, I think this might shock some Aussies. It might shock some Brits because Brits are always told before they come out to Australia, shopping prices are extortionate in Australia. This is a little bit of a take for you guys to understand. It's across the board and a lot of places can be similar or worse off in price.
Is this because the UK's had such a big increase in the more recent years? So
yeah,
that's just,
I think so.
yeah,
I think so.
people-
it is going to be an interesting one to look at. Now, I could do this with other shops. So, for example, Asda and Tesco, I could compare them with Woolies and Coles if you want to see that as a future video. And maybe the prices might be more of a difference there. Maybe they might sway one way. It'd be interesting to see what we have a look at. But as you can see, not much difference in the price of 12 free-range eggs in Australia to the UK. The only difference I think there is I think there's a restriction on how many you can buy. I don't know if there is in the
Australia.
UK. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I know that they say either 1 or 2 boxes per person, per customer. You can't buy more due to the egg shortage. Since that egg shortage, we've lived in Australia. So there might be the exact same shortage in the UK. If there's anybody from the UK watching, let us know, because when we left, there wasn't a shortage on what you can buy. So that would be the only difference I know. Yeah. Jumping on next is British mature cheddar cheese, and then this one here is tasty cheese block.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah. These are the most similar, aren't they?
These are the most similar I could get. The mature cheddar cheese was actually 400 grams.
Okay.
So I've priced it to 500 grams, as you can see underneath. So the block comes as 400, and if you see anything in brackets underneath that says PF, that's just a key for price for. So I've priced it for a different price than what you would buy it as.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
Well, again, cheese, it's got to be more expensive over here. I feel like when I go to the shops, I notice that the cheese here is a little bit more expensive. But it does depend on what cheese you're looking for. But cheese is also pricey in the UK. Ooh, I'm going to have to say cheaper in the UK again.
You think cheaper in the UK again?
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting. I want to know.
Be right at some point.
We did. We have to be right at some point. That's true. One of the things that I thought when I was researching is when we bought the toaster from Kmart, everybody was like, oh, you might be able to get a cheap toaster, but the block of cheese costs more than the toaster. So in my head, I was like, flat out, Australian cheese is going to cost a lot more. As we can see, surprise again,
UK more expensive.
UK is actually more expensive than Australia when you price it to the same amount. So obviously, the block of 400 would have been cheaper than the 500, but getting them both to 500 grams, it's actually more expensive to buy cheese in the UK, ALDI, and you're losing out, like I said, 19 cents better off.
This all adds up when you do a shop. So if it's 19 cents, like all, you know, if it's a little bit on each product, that's going to add up.
When I was doing this video research for it, I was incredible. I was shocked by some of the stuff that came up. So that was one of the big ones. People say cheese is expensive here. It also is in the UK, like you said. That came as a shock to me. Jumping on next, it is 3-ply toilet paper, or I always call it toilet paper, but it's both websites called it toilet tissue. Is that the correct term?
Tissue?
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's a nicer word than paper, isn't it? Because that's more like a paper towel.
Yeah,
like
I've always called it toilet paper, toilet roll.
Toilet roll.
Toilet roll, toilet paper.
Yeah.
Toilet tissue sounds a bit more delicate, but with this one, the weird thing is, Aldi's in Australia and the UK, they come in different amounts. So the UK toilet paper came in 4s and 9s. I think it was a while ago since I did the research for this one, and I think the Australian ones, they came in like 6s. So it was hard to get a price comparison. So what I've done is the Australian one is an 18 pack of 3-ply. And the UK one is 2 packs of 9. So obviously, because they're separate, this might change prices, but what do you think?
I'm going to say toilet tissues.
See, toilet tissue.
In the UK is more expensive.
Yeah.
Because I think the more you can get it in bulk, the better.
Yeah,
so, like,
but what are we thinking price difference-wise?
I'm going to say the dollar difference is about 30 cents.
30. So you think Aussies are 30 cents better off? Let's have a look. And the price difference is actually a little bit more than I first thought it would be. Yeah, so you're actually £1.17 worse off in the UK, or $2.41 better off in Australia buying that. Now, that could be because it's a bigger pack, as we did mention, but even still, that is a big number.
That's a big difference.
Like, I think if the UK did an 18 pack, you'd still be worse off looking at those prices.
I have noticed that, like, it was always expensive to buy loo roll.
Loo roll, bog roll. I used to say bog roll.
Yeah, oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah, so pretty interesting. Again,
so
like I said, there is a big price difference.
Winning so far?
Well, I do a tally at the end, so I've actually done a full roundup on prices of what both shops cost in total, and who's better off. So
Okay.
which one's cheaper, which
That's
which one's actually worse off. So wait till the end. So we've got a medium sliced white bread or white sandwich sliced bread.
Okay.
So the UK one came as 800 grams.
Yeah.
So I've priced it for 650 grams. So they're both
Okay.
priced to the same amount.
Bread in the UK tends to be quite cheap
Yes.
for this kind of bread. But in Australia, I've noticed that the bread overall is quite expensive.
Yeah.
So you are better off going for more of a sourdough, better quality bread, because even though that's expensive too, not much of a difference. So I'm going to say that the UK is cheaper for bread.
And it's astronomical. It's a big amount.
Big difference.
It's a big difference. So Australian bread costs a lot more than UK bread. This is sliced white bread, or as some people call it, glue bread, because it is just not good for you. It sticks to your insides, obviously. But just as the price comparison today, nobody has to eat it. Don't worry. As you can see, $1.55 worse off buying basically the same bread
thing
in Australia to the UK. And again, like you said, looking at that, 76 pence better off in the UK buying bread.
That's shocking, isn't it? I wonder why it's such a big difference.
I don't know with this. Maybe it's how they source it. Is it how readily available it is? I couldn't tell you with that one. But
if you know, let us know, because that's really interesting.
Yeah. Very odd. Next product up is chicken thigh fillets for 1 kg.
Okay.
I kind of kept in this as well. It said on the Australian site that this was bulk buying, but for some reason it didn't say that was bulk in the UK.
Right.
So kind of felt a bit weird, but just another little weird thing.
I'm going to say, I think meat in Australia is more expensive. So I'm going to say UK cheaper for this one.
UK cheaper again.
Yeah.
And we'll have a quick look. Okay. And as you can see, it is 22 pence. But again, on the flip side, let's jump up to that. 45 cents worse off buying it. But it's not crazy prices. Like, there is a little bit there, but like you said, 22 pence. I don't know whether certain Brits might think that the prices are a lot more, or maybe a lot less. I don't know what people think, but intriguing nevertheless. Pretty similar prices across the board.
I was going to say, up to now, do you think that this is, like you said, pretty much even? Some things are more, some things are less.
I've made this whole thing, so I can't comment. I'm going to keep quiet, poke this. Jump through next. Tomato soup. Can't beat a bit of tomato soup.
I have to say one thing.
Go on.
Tomato soup in the UK tastes so much better.
There is something weird, isn't there? Yeah. I don't know whether it's due to it being colder weather, that the tomato soup just tastes better if you've been colder, but there's something.
There's a difference. There's definitely a difference. I don't know what it is.
I think that fruit and other products taste better out here. So
many things taste
maybe it is
better
the sun.
here.
I don't know, like tomato and mozzarella and stuff like that tastes better in good environments.
But it definitely. You don't eat this kind of food really in Australia, because it's just it's very hearty and.
Yeah, we're in the winter months now, and as you can see where we are in Queensland, spare a thought for some of the guys down south. I know it's a little bit colder down there. We've had some comments.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time for you to go and buy some tomato soup. But are you better off in Australia?
Wait, as well, what pairs so well with tomato soup? A grilled cheese.
Cheese sandwich. That is on white bread, but that costs you a fortune out here. You're gonna have to fly to the UK and buy that, maybe. But
I'm gonna say
just a quick one as well. Sorry, I price matched them all, but because it was 20 grams, I didn't price match these. So apologies. That was lazy of me, but I didn't. I just went as the product.
Yeah,
for these,
that's fine. Tomato soup has to be cheaper in the UK. It's got to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, actually, it is cheaper in Australia than it is in the UK. From the research I did, once again, I've done a lot of work on this and there might be an error or two, but I think these were the right prices. It's actually cheaper in Australia than it is in the UK.
Oh my gosh.
Interesting,
like you said, there's not much in it, but it does all add up though. So, yeah, okay.
It does intrigue me. I think for some reason, I don't know whether this one's, I don't know, don't take this one verbatim. I feel like this one might be the wrong one. I'm looking at this now, I feel like it was cheaper in the UK, but I've done a lot of work on this, so I might have to scratch that and look at that, but maybe this one's right, maybe this one's wrong. Sorry. Oh, so the next one is...
Sugary cereal.
So this one is the puffed rice cereal. So
Okay.
Rice Krispies in the UK.
Yeah.
This is like the own brand for both Aldi. So
These are some of the most expensive things you can buy, and they are the most rubbish for you.
yes, not
They're
great.
not great.
Not great.
I would say more expensive in Australia.
More expensive in Australia. As you can see below as well, both priced for the 375 grams box, and as you can see,
Okay. Wow.
a lot more expensive in
lot
Australia.
More expensive.
Like, probably not a bad thing if it's not good for you.
Yep, exactly.
But yeah,
I don't think I've even been to the cereal aisle since being in Australia.
Yeah,
nobody really eats that kind of stuff here, do they? Really?
Yeah, I don't really think they do. But yeah, we've had like a bit of things here and there. But yeah, I've not actually got a box of cereal, I don't think so. But as you can see, probably a good thing as well, as it is a lot more expensive here in Australia than it is in the UK. $1.28 worse off buying that box. And also, it only comes as a box of 450 grams. So this is it if it's priced at 275.
Yeah.
The box is actually a lot more. So
yeah,
an interesting one. A lot worse off. Again, next one.
Instant coffee.
Instant coffee. So this is one that I added on last minute just before we started filming. So this is a biggie that Gordy, our landlord, asked us to put on. He said, please put instant coffee on. So I went and did this just an hour before. Again, both priced for 300 grams. It's instant coffee. And the best thing is, these are both Nescafe.
Okay.
So these are exactly the same product.
Okay.
In theory.
It's got to be cheaper in Australia, coffee. Sure.
Cheaper in Australia?
It's more common.
Should we have a little look? Yeah. It is cheaper.
Yeah.
And it's quite a fair bit cheaper as well.
It
79
is.
pence worse off in the UK. And in Australia, $1.65. Actually better off buying coffee in Australia. So, jumping on from there.
Do you know what I have noticed? The ones where Australia are the cheapest, they are the cheapest by a country mile.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
Surely, overall, Australia's got to be cheaper, which is going to blow my head if that's the case.
This is a very small section and specific, like you said, I just went through random items, but this is a very small section of a whole shop. If you went through and bought a lot of things, this might vary, but this is just on the products that we've done today. Like I said, just randomly I thought, what would people buy? Went through and just kind of labelled some products that I could get on both websites.
Yeah.
There were a few products that I tried searching that weren't available to kind of match on both websites. So this is very specific. Don't take this as like definite, but once again, let's have a little look through. Total cost. So,
wow, so close.
as you can see, the actual overall shop, randomly, like I said, I didn't pre-plan this, I didn't kind of factor it out, but the shop is actually, jump here, worse off in the UK Aldi for the products that we bought. Again, very niche, small amount that we kind of covered, but it's 40 pence worse off in the UK Aldi to buy all the products we've just bought on this little video. All these kind of essentials, but there's plenty more products we could do this with. Aussies, as you can see, you are better off here in this shop, but there might be another video. If you want us to do it again, let us know if you do enjoy it. But I think if we were maybe to add stuff like shampoo, if we were maybe to add stuff that isn't directly food, would that change the outcome? We will have to see. As Cody said, certain products seem really cheap, but I'm sure there's a few products that are very expensive in turn as well.
That has been so fun to see that. That's opened my eyes a little bit, because a lot of people do say, oh yeah, they've lived in the UK, they lived here. They'd say, oh, it's give and take, kind of similar.
Yeah. So we also know a few Brits that have lived in Australia for a good couple of years, and if they've not been back to the UK, they're like, oh, shopping in the UK is so much cheaper. But I hope this potentially, like I said, it is a very small section of shopping, but it is as matched as I could do for research. I hope that it is a bit of an eye-opener for people, maybe people who haven't been back to the UK, who are from the UK. Prices aren't too dissimilar. There might be a few Brits watching this who have heard horror stories about the shopping prices. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you come away from a shop and you look at, like, you might have a shopping bag and you go, that's all I got. But it was kind of getting that way in the UK as well.
It was, definitely,
so,
just before we left.
Just before we left, it was very similar.
Yeah.
And speaking to certain family members, my mum included, she said, oh, prices have only gone up since you've left. So maybe it is a lot more comparable than people think. So I hope this is a bit of an eye-opening experience, something a bit different. If you did enjoy this video, please be sure to show any support. Let us know if you want to see more of it. I enjoyed making it, but it did take a fair whack of time to kind of put together. So like I said, if you want to see more, I can do it. But I just want to know if people enjoy it. If people are like, this is a horrible video, never do it again, I won't do it. It's just been a bit of something different. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you have enjoyed.
And if you have, please be sure to leave a like and make sure you are subscribed. And thank you very much to you members. You guys are wonderful. And we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Adios.